everyone, so today I'm gonna show you if I can beat the debut of Kevin in chess, which has 2300 elo. So let's get right into it. I'm playing this with white pieces. First I just to move my pawn to e4. It moved its pawn to d5, so now I should capture it with my pawn. It recaptured my pawn with its queen, so now I should move for my knight to c3 attacking its queen. It moved its queen to a5, so now I should move my pawn to d4, developing this bishop. It moved its knight to f6, so now I should develop my bishop to d3. It moved its pawn to e5, so now I should move for my queen to e2 because it pins this pawn to the king. It moved its bishop to d6, so now I should capture its pawn with my pawn. It recaptured my pawn with its queen, so now I should capture it with my queen. It recaptured my queen with its bishop, so now I should move for my knight to f3 attacking its bishop. It captured my piece on c3 with its bishop and now it is checking my king. So now I should recapture its bishop with my pawn. It castled to the king's side, so now I should also castle to keep my king safe. It moved its rook to e8. Now I should move for my bishop to f4, developing it and threatening this pawn on c7. It moved its pawn to h3, so now I should capture it with my bishop. It moved its knight to d5, so that I should just calmly capture its knight with my bishop. It recaptured my bishop with its rook, so now I should move my pawn to c4 attacking its knight. It retreated its knight to c3, which was the place of my knight on b1 to develop. But now I should just calmly move for my rook to e1, offering for a trade. It moved its bishop to d7, so now I should capture its rook with my rook and give a check to the king. It recaptured my rook with its rook, so now I should move my pawn to h3, preparing a retreat square for my king to move on. It moved its pawn to g6, so now I should move my knight to d4. It moved its king to g7, so now I should just calmly move my knight to b5. It captured my knight with its bishop, so I should recapture it with my pawn. It moved its rook to e5, so now I should move my pawn to a4. It moved its pawn to h5. And now in this position I should move my pawn to f4, threatening its rook. It moved its knight to e2 check, so now I should move my bishop to e2, capturing its knight. It recaptured my bishop with its rook, so now I should move my rook to c1. It moved its rook to e4, threatening my pawn on f4. But for that I should just calmly move my pawn to c4. It moved its pawn to b6. Now I should move my pawn to a5. It captured my pawn on f4 with its rook, so now I should move my pawn to a6. It moved its rook to d4, so now I should move my king to f2. It moved its rook to d2 check, so for that I should move my king to e3. Move my pawn to c5. It captured my pawn with its pawn, so I should now move my pawn to b6. It captured my pawn and now I should move my rook to a1. It moved its rook to g3 check, so I should move my king to f2. It captured my pawn on h3 with its rook, so I should move my pawn to a7. It moved its rook to h2 check, so now I should move my king to g1. It moved its rook to h4, so now I should finally promote my pawn to a queen, which is my best move. It moved its rook to g4 check, so I should move my king to f2. It moved its rook to f4, again check, so I should move my king to e3. It moved its rook to f6, so now in this position I should move my queen to g2. It moved its rook to e6 check, so I should move my king to d3. moved its rook to e6. Again check, so I should move my king to c4. It moved its rook to e6. So it went going to b2. It blocked the check with its pawn. So now I should move my rook to a7 check. It moved its king to f8. So move my queen to d2, threatening mate. It moved its rook to e4 checks. Move my king to b5. It moved its rook to e7. So now I should move my queen to d6, pinning its rook to the king. It moved its king to g7. So now I should capture its rook with my rook and check the king. It moved its king to h6. So now I should move my queen to f4 check. It blocked the check with its pawn. So now I should capture its pawn on f6 with my queen and do checkmate. So let's review the game. That is analyzing the game. So let's see which moves we made. Universe made any brilliant moves. I made 7 great moves while it only made 1. I made 27 best moves while it only made 20. I made 3 mistakes. It made 4, and both of us made any miss, but none of us made any blunder. So now for the opening, middle game and end game also. In the opening we both did good. In the middle game we both did great, and in the end game I did great while it did excellent. So now for the elo. For the elo it did 1850 and I did 2250. So now for the accuracy. For the accuracy it did 85.3% and I did 95.1%. So let's start the review. And I will also just let you listen to the coach what it is saying, because it will give a better explanation.
Whoa, e4! You're striking the center and opening diagonals. Ready for action! Knight f6 develops the knight toward the center and controls the e4 and d5 squares. This move might cause you trouble. It looks suspicious. That pawn was hanging out there like a piñata, ready to be smashed. You found the only move. What a find. That pawn is safer than Fort Knox. Nice protecting. This move looks questionable. It may cause trouble. Your better option was to activate the king by getting it off of the back rank. That's the only move. You found it. Insane. Activate that king. It's not a couch potato. It's a fighting champion. You found the only move. What a find. You dodged that check like Neo in the Matrix. That's the only move. And you nailed it. What a find. You're putting the squeeze on that pawn chain. Pressure's on. That's the only move. You found the chef's kiss move. You found the only move. What a find. This is huge. That pawn's got backup. Rooks belong behind passed pawns. That's the only move. You found it. Insane. You're marching that passed pawn down the board. GG, checkmate secured. What a win.
So I hope that you liked the video. Just make sure to like and subscribe. Please comment how you thought the video was, and have a nice day.